Alright, g'day guys, welcome to my video. So after Age of Conan, I decided obviously I need something else to play, and I decided I'd go back to a classic like Tree of Xavier. I used to be a closed beta tester for this game, and then an open beta tester. I played it for a couple of months, and then I basically just stopped. I had other things to play at the time. I didn't really have the time to play an MMO. And now, many years later, the game has changed quite a lot. I've played it sporadically in the last couple of years. It's always been a lot of fun. But yeah, there are some pretty serious negatives to the game that I want to discuss and go through. And I think I'll start with those negatives because everybody is always more interested in a reason to not play something instead of reasons to play it. So I will start with the negatives. There's only really 2 or 3. If you can look past those, it's an incredible game. It's absolutely amazing. Every game has its issues. This one is no exception. But if you can look past these small issues, I think you'll just really have a fantastic time playing this. So the first and most obvious thing that really sucks about this game is the UI. The UI is garbage. The text is too small. The placement of everything is just bad. It is a mess. Like all of these icons down the bottom here, the noise that it makes when you mouse over any of them, it's your typical Korean MMO cluster F, times 100. Now, I mean, none of the UI decisions make any sense. The text is truncated. You have to mouse over everything to get a full pop-up of all the text. Things just do this really weird stuff. I mean, you have the X here on these screens, but then on the other side, you have it over here. I mean, I guess that's somewhat consistent. This is just a mouse over, but things just pop up or in weird locations. Some are large, some are big, some are small. Some lag your screen for a second when they pop up, as you can see there. Others are just like, they slide in from the side, they come down the bottom. It's terrible, man. It's really bad. This is like one of the worst UIs. Like, look at how many menu items they have. And there's a second page down the bottom here. Look, they couldn't fit this in. Like, you can move all of this up a bit more, and then you could have fit this system one down the bottom here. Or maybe even here, or move this to here and then fit the system one in there. But instead, nope, just 2 pages. And why does it cover like this part of my screen, but then it leaves this part like that doesn't have this overlay? I guess because I have an ultra wide monitor and this is probably just a 16:9 aspect ratio here. And again, like just how do I close this? I guess I have to press escape, which I just did and it works. But there's no close, there's no nothing. This doesn't go away after you click on something, it stays up. It's just bad. It's really bad. And it's about to get, unfortunately, like a whole lot worse, man. You have things everywhere that pop up. They have different like buttons, like look at this. This is like another, what the heck is this? And then on top of that, these are all the classes, and I'm just going to launch straight into number 2, which is a really big negative in my mind. You used to have to unlock these. So you would start off as a scout, and I hate the noise that it always makes when you move over something. It's so distracting. But you used to have to unlock scout, and then gradually you would unlock these guys. Some of them you even had to do a lengthy quest. You had to grab some items, complete some quests, do some stuff. And then basically once you had done this, you actually could, use the class. But now it's just like, nope, they throw them at you. We got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 different classes here, basically, which is just mental. And they're all very different from each other. None of them are very similar. So, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, most modern MMOs, there's this horrible meta slaving going on. The first thing you're probably thinking of is like, okay, so what's a meta class? Well, I mean, there's 18 classes just for the scout. This is the scout that I'm on here. There is also so many other classes in this game. So now I'm going to show you all the classes. So let's go and have a look at them. Here's my scout, which is 480, 20 levels off the max level, which is 500 now. And it's really sad. I mean, it's the Popper boost, so the Popper boost just gives you a 480 level guy straight away. Anyone that logs in anytime between, I think, now and like March or whatever can get this, just so you know, just a PSA. So, new character, we have male and female cleric. It's 18 classes for them. We have wizard male and female, 18 classes for them. Archer male and female, 18 classes for them. Swordsman female and male, 18 classes for them. And scout female and male, 18 classes for them. So, I mean, there is a ridiculous amount of classes in this game. And to make things even more confusing and worse, you have to pick 3 of them, right? So I can essentially have my character as a scout, right? And then I can pick Thaumaturge, Enchanter, and Rangda, whatever the however the heck you're supposed to say that. I can pick these 3 classes together. And they might be absolutely terrible together. And they probably will be. In fact, there's so many combinations of picking 3 guys here. Corsair, Rogue, and Clown, if you want to do that. Or Clown, Ardito, and Linker. Like, you have no idea if these are going to work. You have to check the skills, play the game through a certain amount, and kind of understand and learn. It's great for theory crafting, and there are some insane builds. And unfortunately, with most games, there is these days like a meta slaving, culture in games. But in this game, there isn't really a meta slaving culture because there's just so many different classes that you can pick. There's so many, and every one of the different head classes like scout, like archer, etc., has this many options to choose from as well. So this is a negative, in the sense that it used to be that you unlock them yourself, and as you unlock them, you kind of learned, you made things. So you would go through normally and you would go for scout, then you would unlock the squire, and you might take the squire and realize that he's more melee, and you kind of like that, so you have some range from your scout, but you have some melee. Then you'd maybe take the corsair, which is really cool. He's like, got a pistol and can pull enemies towards him and stuff, and he has like, lots of sword attacks and everything, and you might like find it's really, really fun. And then finally you'd take maybe the shinobi or something. You don't have to go in a direct line here either, but the point is like you'd kind of learn through these. And the shinobi used to be something that you would unlock by doing a really lengthy quest, getting a whole bunch of items, things like that, completing this sort of storyline quest, and then eventually you'd get the reward of unlocking this class, which would be really, really cool. And you still have these unlock quests for some of them, but for others that used to have them, you don't have this anymore. So Jaguar still has, and the shinobi still has, but for most of these, they've just gone, we're gonna just unlock them. You can just start playing them and pick them kind of whenever. It's like, I know people have the attention span of a goldfish these days, but the whole thing that made this game good wasn't even so much the end game, which is pretty okay. The end game is pretty decent, but it was the grind, the fun grind that you had to end game. And this is the second biggest kind of issue. Now, the third one I can show you, and this is the last one I'm going to talk about, because after this, I don't really think that there is any real problem with this game. Like, the UI is garbage, the classes are super confusing, you need to think of guides or figure out or pick something a bit more meta-slavey and just sort of like a bit more safe. But this is the last thing I'll talk about. Oops, I went too far. And that is the population, which on the US, no problem. There's plenty of people playing on the US. There's enough active people around, enough people online to do things. This is not exactly the best time in US to be on. But in a better time zone or better time for the US, there will be more people playing. Whatever you do, don't play the EU though. I'll talk about that in a second as well. But basically, one way to really see, I'm just going to move this out of the way. Again, really bad UI. How you move this is not clicking on it. You have to grab this invisible, like you can even grab it up here, but you have to grab this invisible thing and move it. And this is like a stupid thing that comes with, for whatever reason, like when you try to click on someone and you have their enemy frame up here, this is like the buffs and debuffs. It's just what? Anyway, one thing you can use to tell how many people are playing is, of course, the auction house. How many pages of things are being sold? I mean, this is all useless. Max item level is 500. This is garbage. Like, you don't even need to buy anything like this anymore because you get this Guardian armor like straight away that you can level up all the way to plus 22 or something, and then it becomes like the best stuff in the game. But you can go through and you can just see how many pages there are of stuff here. And you can kind of see, like, okay, in US, there's enough. Like, there's enough things going on. There's enough cards, enough materials, enough gems. Gems are really important in this game. You know, enough special gear, stuff like that. There's even some hair accessories. These should never be that expensive, though. You get these for free as you're leveling up. So selling them for $500,000 is ridiculous. By the way, there is also a lot of silver selling and buying in this game. Like, it's a Korean MMO. It happens. That's going to happen in this game. You just have to deal with it. That's what it's going to be like. You don't have to buy silver, obviously, but there is silver buying and selling going on, which has like totally inflated the heck out of the economy. So yeah, this is one thing you can check to sort of see how many people are playing, and plenty of people in the US. It's fine. Like, it's actually really, really decent. In Asia, like, is even more people. I'll show you in a second. I'll just stop this recording very quickly and I'll show you. So if you can play in Asia server, please play here. There are so many people here. 71 in channel 1 now. This isn't even peak Asia time. There is a lot of people here. Mind you, in the other servers in the US and so on, there are, like, you know, more people in other towns, but a lot of people hang out in Klaipeda, or whatever this is. Yeah, Klaipeda, which is like the starting town. And people like to hang out here. Yes, everything is in Korean, but there's still quite a few English speakers here. The quests and so on are still in English. You can still do stuff here. Like, if you have a good ping, let's say maximum 100, 150, I would not go any higher than that. I would play here. And how you test your ping, you just do / ping. And you see mine, unfortunately, is almost 300. It's actually a bit less. It's about 240, 230. I've tested it myself in other methods. The game adds a bit extra for whatever reason. I don't really think that's actually the ping, because I don't think the server responds as quickly as it should. So there is a bit of an additional, like, overhead on that. So this is probably more like 240 for me. It's twice as high as what it should be. Just know that you could definitely quest in the Asian server. You absolutely could quest here, but don't expect to be able to do competitive endgame content. You're just not going to be able to do it. Like, the game does get quite spammy at higher levels, and you just, yeah, you really, really, really need to, like, to be able to press things fast enough. In the US, I have about 100, 105 milliseconds. That's fine. That's no problem. In the EU, I have like 5 milliseconds, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, you don't need 5 milliseconds. EU is just completely dead. Please do not play there. You will have a bad time if you do. So yeah, very, very healthy, extremely healthy player base in Asian server, in the W server. If you can play here, please do. Otherwise, like, play in the US. Plenty of people there, active guilds. You can do all the endgame content, no problem. Just stay away from SA server and stay away from EU. They're both completely dead. And that's pretty much the end of the negatives I have to talk about. I'll make another video on the positives. Thanks as always for watching, and I hope to see you in game.